Penguin Audio presents The Big Over Easy, a nursery crime by Jasper Fforde, read by Simon Prebble. For my brother Matthew, whose love of the absurd and the profound enlightened my childhood. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Chapter 1. Mary, Mary. An excerpt from a history of Reading. If Queen Anne hadn't suffered so badly from gout and dropsy, Reading might never have developed at all. In 1702, the unhealthy Queen Anne, looking for a place to ease her royal infirmities, chanced upon Bath, and where royalty goes, so too does society. In consequence, Reading, up until that time a small town on a smaller tributary of the Thames, became a busy staging post on the Bath Road, later to become the A4 and ultimately the M4. The town was enriched by the wool trade, and later played host to several large firms that were to become household names. By the time Huntley and Palmer's Biscuits began here in 1822, Simmons' Brewery was already well established, and when Sutton Seeds began in 1835 and Spong's Foot Care in 1853, the town's prosperity was assured. It was the week following Easter in Reading, and no one could remember the last sunny day. Grey clouds swept across the sky, borne on a chill wind that cut like a knife. It seemed that spring had forsaken the town. The drab winter weather had clung to the town like a heavy smog, refusing to relinquish the season. Even the early bloomers were in denial. Only the bravest crocuses had graced the municipal park, and the daffodils, usually a welcome splash of colour after a winter of greyness, had taken one sniff at the cold, damp air and postponed blooming for another year. A police officer was gazing with mixed emotions at the dreary cityscape from the 7th floor of Reading Central Police Station. She was 30 and attractive, dressed up and dated down, worked hard and felt awkward near anyone she didn't know. Her name was Mary. Mary, and she was from Basingstoke, which is nothing to be ashamed of. "Mary," said an officer who was carrying a large potted plant in the manner of someone who thinks it's well outside his job description, "Superintendent Briggs will see you now. How often do you water these things?" "That one," replied Mary without emotion. "Never. It's plastic." "I'm a policeman," he said unhappily, "not a sodding gardener." And he walked off, mumbling darkly to himself. She turned from the window, approached Briggs's closed door, and paused. She gathered her thoughts, took a deep breath, and stood up straight. Reading wouldn't have been everyone's choice for a transfer, but for Mary, Reading had one thing that no other city possessed. DCI, Friedland Chimes. He was a veritable powerhouse of a sleuth, whose career was a catalogue of inspired police work, and his unparalleled detection skills had filled the newspaper columns for over 2 decades. Chimes was the reason Mary had joined the police force in the first place. Ever since her father had bought her a subscription to Amazing Crime Stories when she was 9, she'd been hooked. She had thrilled at the mystery of the wrong nose, been galvanized by the poisoned shoe, and inspired by the sign of 3½. 21 years further on, Chimes was still a serious international player in the world of competitive detecting, and Mary had never missed an issue. Chimes was currently ranked by Amazing Crime 2nd in their annual league rating, just behind Oxford's ever-popular Inspector Moose. Murmured Superintendent Briggs, eyeing Mary's job application carefully as she sat uncomfortably on a plastic chair in an office that was empty, apart from a desk, 2 chairs, them and a trombone lying on a tattered chaise longue. "Your application was mostly very good, Mary," he said approvingly. "I see you were with Detective Inspector Hebden Flo. How did that go?" It hadn't gone very well.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?